Global scientists announce a revolutionary discovery about a long-standing mystery in our universe. I'm Colleen Calendar, and I'll have that story on NCC News at 4:45. A Syracuse barbershop is helping aid in the Puerto Rico relief. Find out how and where you can help contribute.
A famous father-son lacrosse duo is honored at the Ensley Athletic Center.
And a disease is spreading around Syracuse University campus that hasn't been seen in years. The NCC News 4:45 report starts now.
The origin of gold has been discovered, and the scientists who found it are right here at Syracuse University. Good evening, I'm Nate White.
And I'm Kat Brady. The revolutionary finding was announced this morning at SU. NCC News reporter Colleen Calendar is live in the studio with our top story. Colleen? Science textbooks will need some updating after a team of scientists from across the globe revealed this morning the answer to a long-standing mystery about our universe.
Members of the Syracuse community applauded the physicist who revealed a groundbreaking discovery this morning. 3 Syracuse University professors are part of the team that has discovered the origins of some elements on the periodic table, such as gold and platinum.
I'm wearing a platinum wedding ring right now. Before this discovery, we didn't know where that material came from. We had some theories, we had some ideas, but now we know how the universe makes these materials that we wear as jewelry, and scientists before had no idea where they came from.
Just days before the solar eclipse in August, the team witnessed 2 neutron stars collide in space. The collision resulted in an afterglow, which signified the creation of gold.
And while we're doing this, the clock is ticking because the glow of these 2 colliding neutron stars is fading and fading and fading. Just like the embers of a campfire fade away, this neutron star collision, the light is fading away, so we had to get the telescopes on it quickly.
The Syracuse physicists worked for years with the observatories LIGO and Virgo to detect the gravitational waves which led to this discovery.
The physicists spoke to young scientists in the crowd, such as high school, college, and graduate students, encouraging them that there's still so much to be discovered.
There are so many things out there that we still have yet to discover, and it is by far the pinnacle responsibility of students like yourselves to focus on that one goal or just focus on that one curiosity.
This discovery confirms the origins of the precious metal and opens a new window to solve more mysteries of the universe.
The 2 neutron stars that were seen colliding in the telescopes were each about the size of the island of Manhattan. The event showed material being thrown off and decaying, which, scientists say, was the universe creating gold and platinum. Reporting live in the newsroom, Colleen Calendar, NCC News. The physicists say this discovery will likely prove to be the biggest science story this year.
College campuses nationwide are preparing for federal policy changes on the reporting of sexual assault cases. Changes to the way sexual assaults are handled could impact Syracuse students. Last month, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos called for policy revisions that raise protections for those who are accused. The main changes involve the time frame for when the cases are reported. The administration issued a statement saying that the old rules, quote, lacked basic elements of fairness. Most of central New York has power again after the powerful storm last night caused more than 25,000 homes to be without power. The storm swept through the state shortly after 6 p.m. and caused many trees and wires to fall. Only a few dozen homes in Syracuse still don't have power.
Residents in Cuyahoga County are being advised not to drink water straight from the tap for at least a few days. A boil water advisory has been issued in the village of Union Springs and the town of Springport. The health department says the water system lost pressure during repairs and may contain harmful microbes that could make you sick. Health officials are urging residents to bring water to a rolling boil for at least a minute and to cool before using until the health department says otherwise. One person is dead after a shooting last night in Syracuse. Police responded to a shooting call just after 9:30 last night. On Kellogg Street, officers found 31-year-old Chevalier Fisher suffering from a gunshot wound. Fisher was pronounced dead on scene. There is no current suspect information and the investigation is ongoing.
New York State is sending help to Northern California after wildfires destroyed over 200,000 acres and caused at least 40 deaths. 20 volunteers and workers from the Department of Environmental Conservation left on Sunday to be assigned to areas that are most needed in the state. The workers are expected to be there for 2 weeks. Opening statements for a woman who is accused of fatally poisoning her boss began in Utica today. Caitlin Conley is charged with second-degree murder for the death of 60-year-old Mary Yoder. Yoder and her husband ran a chiropractic office in Whitesboro when Conley was a receptionist. Prosecutors say Conley poisoned her boss with an anti-inflammatory drug.
A local high school did not report any cases of harassment or bullying for at least 2 years, despite several complaints that should have been reported. According to the state comptroller's office, Oswego High School was audited to review the Dignity for All Students Act, when the auditors found 5 cases that met criteria and another 20 cases that did not have enough documentation to be reported. Superintendent Dr. Dean Gowie has not commented. A famous father-son lacrosse duo was honored this weekend with an unveiling of a statue. Lacrosse legends Roy Simmons Sr. and Jr. were honored by Syracuse for their significant contributions to the lacrosse team. Both Sr. and Jr. were players during their time at SU. Combining to coach the Orange every year from 1931 to 1998, they transformed the program into the powerhouse it is today. A downtown barbershop is offering a free haircut for an act of kindness.
NCC News reporter Chris McGlynn is in the newsroom with the touching story.
754 Barbershop is reaching out to those in need down in Puerto Rico following the devastation of Hurricane Maria, all by offering a few free haircuts. 754 Barbershop's new approach to drawing in customers is doing a lot of good for hurricane victims.
It's awesome. I got a really good cut. They're donating for a great cause. I saw it on the news, and I was like, you know, that's a really good cause, and I need a haircut. So it's 2 wins right there.
Word has certainly spread about the offer. It was shop owner Centrana Allen who decided to step up relief efforts. She knows all too well how difficult it is to recover from a natural disaster.
My family has gone through Katrina, they've gone through Rita, and just recently last year they experienced the flood. I know what type of devastation that is. So imagine yourself on an island where you can't get help. You don't have a neighboring state to come over and help you or people to lend a hand. So that is a catastrophe in itself.
The shop has seen people come in from as far north as Fort Drum and as far east as Hamilton. People are dropping off things like bottled water, diapers, or even socks, whatever the essentials are for the people of Puerto Rico at this time. As donations continue to pour in, Allen leans on her military background to keep the initiative going.
I mean, one thing that I learned while I was in the military is that we have 7 Army values, and one of our 7 Army values was selfless service. And so I take that with me everywhere I go.
It has been a decade since Allen last served in the military, but even today, she is still finding new ways to serve her country. Now, Allen said that she did not want to work for anyone after she got out of the military. However, 2 of the people that now work for her are from Puerto Rico, making this outreach even more important to her. I'm Chris McGlynn, NCC News.
The shop will be accepting donations through Friday, but that free haircut offer ends Wednesday. The Syracuse University campus is currently handling a mumps outbreak. The rare viral disease popped up on campus in the middle of September, and since the outbreak began, the number of cases has nearly doubled. The disease can be spread through direct contact with things such as doorknobs, water fountains, and bathroom surfaces. SU Health Services is in process of sending emails to students that may have been exposed to the disease. There are currently 22 confirmed cases and 19 probable cases on campus.
A new drug treatment clinic is opening in Syracuse today. The Regional Open Access Center will be open 24 hours a day and will offer immediate evaluations and treatment options for people looking for help for drug addiction. The clinic is located at 329 North Salina Street.
Thousands across central New York have gathered for the biggest antique show of the fall season.
8, 9, 40. Thank you very much.
More than 150 vendors showcased all types of mementos and collections. Many shoppers said they wanted to help keep the art of antiques alive.
Things like quilts, you think about someone making that quilt, especially if it's handmade. You think about the years and the love that went into it.
Because of loyal shoppers, the Salt City Antique Show is known for boosting the Syracuse economy. The next show is during Thanksgiving weekend at the State Fairgrounds once again.
Last night's rain gave us a temporary cool down, but how long will it last? Here's NCC News weather reporter Chris Jastrzemski with our first weather.
Well, Kat and Nate, that temporary cool down will just be about the rest of the day. 30 degrees, the temperature cool down from yesterday's high of 80. Let's take a look at the current conditions right now, Right now it's 46 with the barometer steady at 30.17 inches. That'll rise throughout the rest of the week. Humidity is at 73% and the winds are northwest at about 6 miles an hour. Earlier today it was spotty showers and a lot windier, but this cool down won't be that long. I'll explain later on the full forecast coming up later in the broadcast.
Coming up on NCC News, Hillary Clinton condemns sexual assault and the President of the United States.
The broadcast booth for the Syracuse Crunch. We'll tell you all about his journey from baker to broadcaster. Hillary Clinton makes a bold statement about the man sitting in the White House. That's our top story in the news and around the world. In a TV interview in London Sunday, Hillary Clinton spoke about the Hollywood scandal involving Harvey Weinstein. He was a big financial supporter of Mrs. Clinton during last year's presidential election, but not anymore. Mrs. Clinton even compared the Hollywood mogul to President Trump, making reference to a 2005 Access Hollywood tape in which Trump discussed his uninvited advances towards women.
Recognize this kind of behavior cannot be tolerated anywhere, whether it's in entertainment, politics. You know, after all, we have someone admitting to being a sexual assaulter in the Oval Office.
Clinton made no reference of another presidential run during her interview, but that did not stop President Trump from tweeting about it. The president wrote how when asked if Hillary is going to run in the next election, he answered, "I hope so." Fire officials in California have turned a corner against the wildfires that have devastated parts of the state over the past week. The blazes were blamed for over 40 deaths and destroyed nearly 5,700 homes. Sonoma authorities have located 1,560 of more than 1,700 once listed missing. Some residents are being allowed to return home in areas that are no longer in harm's way. One person is missing and 7 injured after an explosion at an oil rig in Louisiana Lake just north of New Orleans. Officials are investigating the cause of the fire, which was still burning as of 11 p.m.
Just hoping there's no one on that.
No deaths have been reported, and 4 of the injured have already been discharged from the hospital. Safety officials are working on getting contractors out to the rig in order to stabilize the situation.
Able to coordinate with our safe boats in the sheriff's office to get the appropriate contractors out there to the.
This morning, the death toll from 2 truck bombs in Somalia's capital reached 300. The bombs exploded Saturday just outside a popular hotel near a busy intersection in Mogadishu. The Somali capital is a frequent target of attacks by Al-Shabaab, an extremist group linked to Al-Qaeda. The bombings are being labeled the deadliest attacks to hit the capital in decades. Kurdish forces withdrew from Kirkuk today as Iraqi federal forces moved into the disputed city. The United States, who is an ally of both parties, described these events as coordinated movements, not attacks. The Iraqi forces seized oil fields and other infrastructure amid tensions over last month's Kurdish vote for independence. And that's what's happening in the news across the nation and around the world.
A new voice is in the announcing booth at the War Memorial. Just 3 years ago, he graduated from Syracuse University. Now, Lucas Favalli is the play-by-play voice for the Syracuse Crunch hockey team.
Favalli knew he always wanted to work in sports, even though his first job was in food. Favalli's father owns a pizzeria, his sister runs a bakery, and his brother is a chef. But Favalli is a broadcaster at heart.
I mean, I worked at my dad's pizzeria when I was in high school and younger than that. It was all right. Liked it, didn't love it. It wasn't really what I wanted to do. I've never really had that desire to be in food, and it's always been sports since as long as I can remember, maybe 5, 6 years old. It's sports, sports, sports. So for whatever reason, I went off the other path from them, but it's all worked out so far.
This is the booth where Favalli will be calling the game from when the puck drops. Now, the person who was in this booth before Lucas had a very big impact on him.
Dan Duva was the voice of the Crunch for 5 seasons until accepting a play-by-play job in Las Vegas this year.
He's set a high standard for this organization in terms of the broadcast and everything, and learning from him for 2 years. He's obviously had the biggest influence and the biggest impact in my broadcasting career, just having a chance to work with him day in and day out for 2 seasons here.
Evan Stockton also interned under Duva and now works for Favali.
Lucas is similar to Dan, but he's also different. Lucas is similar in the fact that he is going to get the little details right. He cares so much about the broadcast craft. He cares so much about getting his craft to be the very best as possible.
Amidst the pressure from straying away from the family business and taking over for Duva, Favali does his best to keep things in perspective.
It will be weird and different, and it'll take some getting used to, but once the puck drops, it's just another game, and you just put that smile on your face and get going, and it's game 1 of 76, so you got to take it one game at a time.
Something else that Lucas told me is that his parents and whole family were 100% supportive of him pursuing a career outside of their food business, which I thought was really nice.
It definitely makes it really easy when your family supports any changes you're making, so that's great for him. NCC weather reporter Chris Jastrzemski says it's going to get even colder tonight.
Looking out at the weather deck, the sun hasn't been out for much of the day, but it will be out later in the week. Chris is next.
Cold start to the work week, but relief is shortly on the way. Hi everyone, I'm Chris Jastrzemski with your NCC weather. Currently in Syracuse, 46 degrees and partly cloudy. It was cloudy and rainy throughout the rest of the day. It'll stop for today and it'll last throughout the entire week. Other numbers, northwest winds at 14 miles an hour. The barometer is at 30.16 inches and it'll be holding steady. It'll go up for the rest of the week as we have better conditions throughout Tuesday and Wednesday. And speaking of which, we'll look at the temperatures. Big drop in the temperatures tonight and into tomorrow, especially earlier today. We started out 46 degrees here at 10 a.m. It'll drop all the way down to 36, 35 in the early morning hours of tomorrow, but then it'll rise back up 59 degrees, near 60, and it'll just keep rising on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday as we get closer with a high pressure system approaching Syracuse. So meanwhile, current temperatures 46 degrees in Syracuse, as I said, 48 in Rochester, 52 in Elmira, near the capital region, about 53 in Schenectady and Albany. So warmth is on the way. We'll still feel these temperatures later on tonight. We had a little bit of rain coming in through the area near Syracuse and Oswego. It's now the Utica and the capital region, as I said. It'll probably approach Albany, Schenectady later on tonight, but won't see that much rain throughout the rest of the week, as I mentioned. There's that little stream of rain approaching Syracuse, reaching all the way down to northern Pennsylvania, excuse me as I point, with some more rain near the Atlantic Ocean. We won't get any of that at all once we hit the rest of the week. Now, as we look at our 5-day forecast, Tuesday, 61 degrees, sunny again, 47 will be the low, not that bad. But Wednesday, here comes the nice part, 69 degrees, a low of 47, the sun stays. Thursday is a high of 70, Friday a high of 64, but then the clouds start to build up, 72 degrees. But this warmth will stay for a little bit afterwards. So this might be the last time we have this really warm weather until spring, maybe, April, May.
That's great, but do you think it's safe to say we're at least done with the 80 degrees in October? Because that's been pretty rough.
I wouldn't say it's rough, but I love this warm weather, but this is definitely going to be the end of the 80-degree weather. We might see some 50s and 40s in a couple of weeks as well.
Is there any reason for the sudden drop in temperature just for today?
So as you mentioned, those storms from last night, that drew a lot of falling of temperatures, so that was a big reason why.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
After the Orange's historic win over Clemson Friday, 3 Syracuse football players were honored with weekly conference awards.
And a controversial call late in the Jets-Patriots game helped New England sneak away with a win. NCC Sports is next.
Three Orange players were tabbed with ACC Player of the Week honors following Syracuse's big win over Clemson on Friday. Good afternoon, I'm Sawyer Kamen with NCC Sports. 2 offensive players and 1 on the defensive side earned conference honors after Syracuse upset number 2 Clemson on Friday. First up is quarterback Eric Dungy. Despite 3 touchdowns through the air, the Orange play caller earned the ACC's Co-Running Back of the Week award thanks to scrambles like this 45-yarder you're about to see come up. He busts out to the right, beats a couple defenders, and turns the corner, almost breaking it for a touchdown before he's finally brought down. He ended with 61 yards on the ground and 278 through the air. Irv Phillips earned Co-Receiver of the Week honors thanks in large to this 66-yard strike here. That was Syracuse's second score. He had 4 catches in the game for 94 yards. On the defensive side of things, here comes Paris Bennett. Watch out, that's his first career sack. He also had 8 other tackles. He earned Linebacker of the Week honors. And of course, that culminated in this scene from the Carrier Dome, 27-24. Sunday afternoon featured an AFC East matchup between the Jets and Patriots. Many expected an easy win for New England, though New York didn't go down without a fight. Let's check out the action. We start in the second quarter, Jets up 7-0. Josh McCown here adding to that lead. He drops back and finds Jeremy Curley with a dime and another touchdown, 14-0 New York. However, can't be too safe against the Patriots. It's 14-7 as Tom Brady launches one to Brandon Cooks, gets that one, gets out of bounds at the 2-yard line, sets up this ensuing play. Brady takes a snap, and there's big man Rob Gronkowski, ties it up at 14 just before the half. We're going to shift ahead to the fourth quarter. It's 24-14 Patriots, and here's the play of the game. Controversial call. Jets go in for the touchdown. Ref signals a yes. It's Safarian Jenkins. He thinks he's got a touchdown, but look right here. That ball is actually loose. The officials review it, and that one gets turned around. It is no touchdown. It's a touchback. That Safarian Jenkins, you'll see here, he can't quite believe it. Neither can head coach Todd Bowles, but hey, Tom Brady, all smiles. Patriots escape 24-17. And in the New York Giants side of things, they're looking for their first win, already up 3-0. Here's Eli Manning, rolls out to the right, and that's Evan Ingram on the catch, goes up 10-0 in the first half. And just before halftime, the defense steps up for the G-men. Right here, Simeon drops back. That one's picked off. That's Janoris Jenkins, one man to beat for the pick six. He does so, slides into the end zone. And for good measure here in the end, in the fourth quarter, Jason Pierre-Paul steps up, gets a sack, does a little dance, does a little dab. Giants win 23-10. Justin Turner played the hero for the Dodgers last night in L.A. His walk-off home run gave the Dodgers a 2-0 series lead over the Cubs. Let's see how everything shook down. John Lester on the left for the Cubbies, Rich Hill on the right for the Dodgers. 2 southpaws going at it in Game 2. In the 5th inning, here's the first run of the game. That's little guy Addison Russell breaking the tie with a dinger over the left field wall. Cubbies bench loving every second of it. Playoff baseball, though, leads do not last. Talk to Justin Turner. Great at-bat, ends in a slaps single to the right side. That brings in Charlie Culberson, knots things up at 1 run. And then take a listen. Here's how the game ended in the 9th.
And Turner in the air to center field. Martinez on the run. This is way back, and it is gone. It is a walk-off home run for Justin Turner.
And that is the first walk-off postseason home run the Dodgers have had in 29 years to the night. You might have guessed the last one. That was Kirk Gibson in the 1988 World Series. That'll do it for NCC Sports. I'm Sawyer Kamen.
A famous comedian is making his only stop here in Syracuse for his upcoming tour.
And his trailer has everyone laughing. Stay with us. Kevin Hart will be stopping by Syracuse for his new tour.
And he will perform for his only show in upstate New York at the On Center. Tickets go on sale this Friday.
Are you a Kevin Hart fan, Kat?
Huge. I mean, who is it?
I mean, I think he can get a little over the top sometimes, but all in all, I think it's pretty fun.
I'm pretty excited for him to come.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how it goes.
And that's our NCC News 445 report. I'm Nate White.
And I'm Kat Brady. Thanks for watching and have a good night.